You never know. We have cats. It's just a house full of animals. Folks, here we are. It is season 4, episode 18. Now I will tell you this. There are some episodes that we can't do because we're traveling. And then there's some shows that we shouldn't do because we've been traveling. And this is one of them. We should not be awake. We shouldn't be up. It's been a crazy, have you ever seen me up all night making cocktails? Yeah, you have. Well, this is kind of like that because we kind of been up all night. We just kind of got home, but by God, we're ready for a cocktail show. I'm giving you something special. I learned some things. We were in North Carolina this weekend, and I learned all about something called the Cherry Bounce. The Cherry Bounce. North Carolina. Well, I'm not going to tell you out here. Come on, you got to come in here. Blue Monkey Quarantina. Only business is monkey business. And Cherry Bounce. Bounce, bounce. Here we go, folks. Yeah! It's a Blue Monkey Quarantina! Well, here we are, folks, in Blue Monkey Quarantina, and we are so glad to be back. It's crazy, but yeah, we were on a whirlwind of a trip, correct?
Correct.
There's nothing like getting up at about, not getting up. There's nothing like getting back to your hotel at about 1 in the morning to get ready to get on the road at 2 in the morning to drive to the airport for a 5 a.m. flight. Funny thing, if you're ever flying out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and you have a 5 a.m. flight, the car rental return doesn't open until 4 a.m. So that's a hoot. It is just a real hoot to stand around and wait with many other people for the first shuttle at 4 a.m. And by God, I give them credit. When they say they take the first shuttle at 4 a.m., on the button. Doesn't matter that there's 25 people all waiting and people that have, again, maybe a 5 a.m. flight. It's all good because nobody's frustrated at 4 a.m. after no sleep. Paul, get to the point.
Was that not an epic wedding?
It was an epic wedding.
Becky, man, Banbury's, they know how to do it.
Yep. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So we went to North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, actually, we flew into Raleigh. We weren't in Raleigh. But I have to talk about Raleigh because what I learned is in Raleigh, North Carolina, they have an official cocktail, and it's called the Cherry Bounce. This is great stuff, folks. I got to tell you about it. So the Cherry Bounce, we're going back to 1769. 1769, Raleigh, North Carolina. There's a gentleman, Isaac Hunter. He is given a permit to be able to open a tavern. The tavern he opens is called Wake Crossroads. Where it is located now, you'd be better known as Wake Forest Road. Yeah, this is Wake Forest. Yeah, right? Yeah. We saw signs. So here we are in 1769. He starts serving up the Cherry Bounce. And it catches on. Paul, he made Cherry Bounce? He invented it? No. I'll get to that. He just served it. So he gets full credit for making this drink popular. How popular was it? Well, fast forward to 1792, and the state assembly was meeting in 2 different locations to determine where in North Carolina they were going to put the state government headquarters. Not only where were they going to put it, but what land were they going to buy? Now, I'm not going to say the Cherry Bounce had anything to do with it, but the story goes that on 1792, the night before, the assembly, 9 gentlemen decided which land they would buy and where they would put the capital headquarters for North Carolina. They happened to be spending the evening at Wayne Crossroads at that tavern, drinking heavily of the Cherry Bounce. Lo and behold, the next day, when the vote came out, they bought all of Hunter's land, and we now have the capital in Raleigh. Coincidence? Probably. No, there's much more history to that, but I give you that to tell you that the Cherry Bounce is tied to Raleigh, it's tied to North Carolina. Paul, what is it? Because you said he served it, he didn't invent it. No, it goes way back. This is like from the 1600s. Cherry Bounce basically is, I'll tell you how to make it. You ready for the recipe? Get a gallon jar, Fill it 75% full of tart cherries. Then you're going to put a cup of sugar in there, and then you're going to fill it up so you cover the cherries with any liquor spirit. Back then, when Hunter was making it, he would use brandy. And then you would let it sit. Well, you put the lid on it, and then you'd give it a little shake, and then you let it sit like for months. There are people that still make it. Some people will let it sit for a year, and basically you end up with alcoholic cherry Kool-Aid. How's that one for you, Shelby?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. And that is the cherry bounce. Now, while we were there, we were able to secure our own bit of a cherry bounce version. Now ours is a more of a clear spirit, not made with brandy or whiskey, which are both available. This one is actually kind of more of the moonshine version, but not publicly traded, and it's all legit and legal. This is actually made local in North Carolina from a distillery. But the reason I wanted to get this one is that if you go further back in history, 1600, the very first cherry bounces were made with clear, basically moonshine spirit. This is one of the first ones. So that cherry, what you would call maybe cherry flavored moonshine, folks, that's a cherry bounce. Boom, cherry bounce. Now, full disclosure, the cherry bounce also can be not only made with other things. There are some cherry bounce, it's easy to make, but it takes a long time. So there are some bars that have made their own cherry bounce cocktail. Basically, they use cherry vodka, cranberry juice, and some lime juice, shake it up, put it over ice, and serve it. And delicious. But it's not the true cherry bounce. And I'm just curious. Now, I've got a cocktail. Hold. Ooh. Woo. So, it's heat. It's a burner. But it's you can taste the cherry.
Whoa.
Definitely taste the moonshine.
Whoa.
Let me finish this just because I need an empty glass.
Oh. That comes at you from a lot.
And you can feel the sugar too, right?
Yeah,
like you can feel it on your lips. It's very...
That's like Robitussin on crack.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're not animals. We're going to make a cocktail with it, which is kind of the trend now. It's to take the cherry bounce and make something with it. You can make a cherry bounce spritz, which sounds pretty good right now. You can do a cherry bounce sour. But today only, we're going to do a cherry bounce old fashioned. So old fashioned, as you know, you would probably take some bourbon. You would a little bit of sugar, either sugar cube or some simple syrup, some bitters, and boom, 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 you'd be done. We are going to sub out the sugar because this is sweet enough, and we're going to mix it up, and we're going to make our own little cocktail. Cherry bounce, old fashioned. Here we go. So first, what we need, we need some ice. So we're going to do this one. We're going to stir it. We don't have any juice going into this, so we can just stir. We're going to go 2 ounces of the cherry bounce. One for me, one for Shelby. I don't know if you saw the cherry that fell in there.
Sweet.
It's going in yours.
I'll take it.
She's scared. Then we're going to come in with our bourbon.
It just means I'm going to fall asleep that much sooner.
And we're going to go even. We're going to go 2 ounces per. So there's one for me, one for Shelby. Then we're going to turn around. We're still going to do our Angostura bitters. A couple in each one, a few in each one. That would be 6 total. And then last but not least, something else I learned. Emergency. 17. So what was really interesting, 1792, I told you they voted where it was going to be. In 1791, before they voted on where the state headquarters would be, Raleigh, North Carolina, in case you fell asleep earlier, they also in 1791 had a small epidemic, and they decided that they were going to make emergency the go-to supplement for North Carolina. Emergency, helping North Carolina since 1791. We're going to put a little that in there. And then we turn around and we stir. Because we're not animals.
Yeah.
So you're just going to, we want this chilled. Want a little bit of that ice to dilute, you know. So in an old-fashioned too, you will sometimes see recipes where they'll actually add a little water. So, and it's funny, some of the old recipes will say, if you don't have wet ice, add water. Pretty sure all ice eventually becomes wet.
Yeah,
but you know what they mean. There's wet ice. There's wet ice. All right. So there it is. Then we're going to take 2
I'm not a fan of wet ice.
Blue Monkey glasses. Oh, yeah. Not bad for coming home and remembering to do this, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Right?
Find that.
Oh, yeah. And then we're going to turn around over top of those ice balls.
I apologize. I've been too tired to turn on the...
the overpour. Oh, here, you're doing it now. Got it now. I was too tired to put up a picture. And there it is. And then we're going to garnish it. Because once again, still not animals, you know. Feel like it, though. You know what? You don't sleep all day. You can start to feel like an animal. And then we're going to come in with...
Wexler says water is for amateurs.
Amen, right? Come on. We're going to do that. We're going to get some... We're getting the best. Nothing but the best. Oh, no. Remember I told you earlier, I was like, I feel like I'm off because I haven't slept, I don't know, all day, and I'm going to end up forgetting something.
You forgot pokey things.
I forget pokey things. So, hold on.
Umbrellas.
I'm looking. What I can do, though, is...
Don't break the umbrella.
Oh, I have hundreds of umbrellas, yet not one single
pokey stick.
I have pokey sticks. Then we're coming in. We're going to get a couple of the best.
We should keep a set of pokey sticks down here.
I meant to buy some last time we were out.
No, I mean,
do you remember?
The good ones.
Oh.
Since we've got a spare set now.
True. And then we're going to just kind of, we're going to try to do something here.
That's a hefty orange slice. Look at you. Well, that's pretty.
What do you think?
I like it.
You know? Again, not trying to brag or anything, but not bad for little to zero sleep.
Hour.
Yeah.
Those are pretty.
Pretty?
Pretty.
Now, is it good? The all-seeing orange eye. What do we got? So, obviously, orange right up front. The Angostura bitters. Everything's right there. Oh, that, you know what? I'm glad that you tried this first.
Doesn't taste the same.
Because the bourbon, I wouldn't do it with the rye, because I think the rye and the heat in this would light you up. But that bourbon, it's so smooth. Thank you, New Riff. Not for sponsoring and giving it to us, but just because you have a nice bourbon. But that mellows out the heat of that cherry bounce, bounce. I know it's getting. I need to wrap it up, Paul. Wrap it up. It's falling apart.
New level of happy.
But it is smooth. So for this one, give it a try. Here, hold on. I'm gonna come around. Let me give you a cheers on this one. Right here, camera. Boop. Look at that, folks.
That's pretty.
That's pretty. What do you think?
Oh, that's nice.
Right? It's lovely.
Yeah, it's a sipper, but that's nice.
It's a sipper. It's an old-fashioned. Cherry bounce old-fashioned. Quarantine style. And on this one, to end this evening, I'm going to give a cheers to family. So we attended a wedding. So So always, I like what I actually enjoy a good wedding, and this was a great wedding. But what was fun about this wedding is I was introduced to new family, so I ended up learning
Whole parcel.
whole parcel. So to all of my new North Carolina family out there,
You got sisters and nieces.
oh, sister-in-laws. I got. I found out. Cousins and nieces-in-laws, and it was a niece-in-law. So it was awesome. So to all the North Carolina family that we just met, can't wait to come visit you more. And Texas, don't worry, I know where you are. We'll find you too.
In New York.
So all the way up in New York. So love you all. Side note, just to be very clear though. Typically as a quote unquote uncle or whatever, you have to give gifts and stuff. There's no crawlback provision. So since we just met, it's a going forward thing. You can't say, oh, you've been with Shelby for 10 years and now you owe us 10 years. That doesn't work that way. So anyway, unless it's cocktails, and then we'll make it up. So anyway, cheers to everybody. Love you all. We'll see you next week, I think. Oh yeah, we got a good one. Travel show next week.
Oh,
cheers.
yeah. We do.
We're out.